Alright, so Satan is like flying the fuck out of hell, and God, meanwhile, is up in heaven watching him do all this shit, and he's like checking it out, and he's got all his angels around, and he's like, oh look, Satan's on his way to corrupt all of humanity. Should we do something about this? Nah, whatever. Oh, but shit, wait, if we don't do anything, then he's totally gonna corrupt humanity, and it's not gonna be their fault, because fucking Satan did it. I mean, it's not your fault if Satan, like, shows up, and he's like, here, you want this sweet bike? Price, your soul? And then they're like, yeah, dude, whatever, I don't even know what a soul is. That's not their fault. So what do? How do we, like, fucking redeem them or whatever? Oh, I know. Fuck it. Well, like, we'll just send, like, some angels, and they'll totally redeem humanity later somehow. Any volunteers? And the angels are all just like, and then Jesus is like, oh, me, I'll do it. Yeah, Jesus is hanging out there. I mean, he hasn't been, like, born yet or anything, but he's hanging out, just chilling with God, and he's like, Dad, I would love to go redeem humanity. Like, 2,000 years from now, I will totally show up, and I will go down there, and I will take the punishment for all of humanity's sins, and you can, like, kill me, and then I'll conquer death. And then he goes on, like, this whole rant about all the great shit he's gonna give people, and how he's gonna, like, kill death, and, like, ruin victory, and, like, just, like, fucking fuck up everything all over the place. Which begs the question, why are they having this conversation instead of just fucking stopping Satan, who is flying towards Eden right now to cause the problem in the first place? Why don't they just, like, send a bunch of angels, bam! I mean, they already beat him once, they fucking had a war already, and just, like, wrecked that motherfucker. Why don't they just, what are they doing? Is it possible for anyone to write God without turning him into a tremendous illogical tool? I think not. Anyway, God is pretty, like, jazzed about the fact that Jesus is gonna go and handle this shit for him later. So he's like praising Jesus, like, oh man, you're my best son, you're my only son, but I mean, you're my best son. And meanwhile, Satan is just fucking flying around on his way to Eden. So he goes through this place called the Paradise of Fools, which is basically like hell for douchebags. Like, they're in all these shitty lakes of fire and desolation and whatever, and it's all assholes who, like, my favorite ones are these dudes who, like, when they die, they've been assholes their whole lives, but they're like, hold on, maybe I can trick God by just dressing up as, like, a friar or a monk or something, and then I get to heaven and I got these clothes on. He's like, oh yeah, whatever, come in, dude. Well, who the fuck? He's fucking omnipotent. He can, He's such fucking idiots. Also begs the question, Adam and Eve are the only two human beings alive right now, so who the fuck are these assholes in the Paradise of Fools? I don't know, doesn't matter. Satan walks through there, he gets onto the stairway to heaven, he's like looking up at heaven, and he sees the sweet-ass gold chain going down to earth, and he's like, alright, fucking going down here. So he flies down, and it's like super beautiful, and he's bitching to himself about how he doesn't get to be an angel anymore, and how it turns out that hell was inside him all along. Like, he thought he'd get out of hell and it'd be fine, but it's like one of the, like, the reverse of one of those crazy fantastical stories with the ruby slippers where the power was, no, not the power was inside you all along. The torments of hell were inside you all along. But anyway, so he goes down to earth, and Eden is there, right? And it's surrounded by its fucking impenetrable rocks and the wall and some trees. Oh, but guess what? Nobody considered the fact that Satan can fucking fly. So he just leaps over that shit. He doesn't even bother to fly. He just leaps over it, and he gets in there. He starts pretending to be a bunch of animals going around. He finds Adam and Eve. And they're like butt fucking stark ass motherfucking naked as shit up in here, just covered in naked, and walking around and banging every which way, and nobody gives a shit, because, I mean, they're the only two people. They don't gotta worry about making anybody else uncomfortable, because they got their tits and their balls and all of their jangly bits hanging out, and who gives a shit? Man, sounds awesome. But anyway, they're talking to each other, and there are just reams and reams of exposition coming out of these motherfuckers' mouths. Like, oh man, we can do anything we want here, except that God told us that we can't eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. And Satan is like, huh, the tree of knowledge, that sounds interesting. I got no idea what that fucker does. I bet, probably, that it kills them when they eat it. So it's definitely in my best interest, no matter what, to get them to eat it. Because, like, no matter what, it can only go shitty for them. So he's sneaking around. And meanwhile, apparently, there's these two angels in charge of guarding the Garden of Eden, right? There's Uriel and Gabriel. And apparently no one gave them the memo about letting Satan fuck everything up. Because they hear about, like, they see Satan, like, skulking around there, and they have no idea who this ugly motherfucker is. And they're like, fuck, we better do something about this. So they go out looking for him. Meanwhile, night falls, and Adam and Eve, they bang the shit out of each other, and it's great, and nobody cares, not even God. And they're banging, and then they go to bed, and then Satan comes over to the mountain that they're on, and he starts, like, fucking whispering in Eve's ear, like... And while he's doing that, fucking Uriel shows up and is like, hey, you! What the fuck are you doing here? And Satan's like, oh, fuck, everything's fucked up! And he just, like, runs out of paradise. And so he's gone, and Uriel's like, what the shit just happened? And Adam and Eve are like, oh my god, what the fuck was that? And the rest is story for another time.